Alright, what I have for you guys today is we're going to be doing a replay. So we will kind of just get into the heart of it. Right now we have Red Protoss, or Red Terran, that'll be myself. We have a Blue Protoss, and we also have a Teal Zerg. So it's a Terran Zerg Protoss, and on the other side we have a Terran Zerg Zerg. So, just getting our introductions on the way, we'll speed into one of the first ones. So, as I think we're quite unsure, I think so far... Oh yeah, that's what happened. So one person leaves, so now it's just Terran Zerg, which I think he was just AFK, so... I think, okay, so it's Terran Zerg, and I think the Zerg double. So I know in my head already, kind of like, they're gonna go for Guardians. It's the best unit for Zerg, honestly. Like, it's a flying tank. So I need to get up AA. So I'm gonna do my standard opening, 2 barracks and 1 tech lab. Always get your tech lab first if you're in this position. You can get barracks, tech lab, or if you're in Blue's position, you get to do your 2 barracks, get out onto the field, and then build up your thing. I'm a little uncertain how he got... Oh, that's how he did it. Zergling, Roach. That's actually really interesting. That's a great opening, because it really caught me off guard. I'm like, okay, so it's just like 14 Zerglings, but it's not. It's 10 Zerglings, 2 Roach. And I don't... Maybe if I had Fire Bats. But Predators tend to do better with Terran, and since it's going to be like every other wave, like you can even see, he's doing the standard build. That's fine. He is doing a Roach Zerg, which, again, like I just said, it was pretty freaking great. This guy is doing all Zerglings, which will work because I don't think Terran ever built like a Fire Bat, which I don't understand why you wouldn't just build a Fire Bat when someone just gets this many Zerglings. Like, look how many Zerglings that is. But I think he gets outdone here because of just all the Roaches. Yeah, he gets all but 1, and none of us go out to Kite. So we're just gonna kind of speed up until after the gases, because everyone kind of just does their standard build. There we go. I go factory into, I think, 2 Widows. I see that he's doing this like, yeah, so you can see I see that he's doing like this. I think, okay, so I think Blue did this really interesting strat, and I don't think it's really the best. He comes out pretty standard, you know, getting out some Marauders. I don't know what I was going to call them, reactors. This guy getting his detection, he saw that, gets even more Zerglings. It's a pretty standard game, except this is very different. This is somewhat different, but yeah. Yep, the Commander Mine getting plenty of kills. We'll stop kind of looking at everything that's happening, and I could go over. So, pretty standard versus pretty standard. I think I win this engagement, surely because I have the Widow Mines. And just his units already has stimmed, so it's just, you know, I'm already up a little bit on that. But the Zerg really does just roll over me, no problem. I get 1 really good shot. Oh my goodness, that was a great shot, but he gets this interesting mass core Dark Stalker build going on. There we are. It can help bats. I forgot about that. And I think I can show everyone just what their structures are. And you guys can kind of see there's really not much going on. They start picking up because Blue lost his wave. Or the Zerg lost his wave, I think. Yeah. I'm going to, you know, pretty strong. This sort of build is pretty strong. Just straight off the bat, you got plenty of, like, early for the Zerglings and Terran. Lots of meat, and then you're going up into that. For him, it's just kind of like he has some, and he got like into a little bit on tech side. This guy got a lot of Roaches, a lot of Zerglings, but really isn't doing all that much. Yeah, From the Zerg, I would have actually preferred to see like Hydra coming on out. I think, yeah, you get a lot off, but like what you actually survive with, you could have gotten more out of Hydra rather than just this. So we know Terran is going Mech, but Mech kind of loses out early game. I think he wins right here, or I win just barely. Yeah, just barely. Like, so early game, you're going to be doing well. Later game, you're not. So, can slow this down to normal speed as we're kind of getting up there into the game. So we got, you know, basically the head hit. Like the Zerg is just meant to go underneath all the immortals that the Protoss will eventually have, and just slam his little Zergy face right into the Terran. Like, absolutely just slams in there, overwhelming them. Perfect. And even with the Zerg, like, if Zerg ran up into, like, an immortal build on Protoss, he'd be just getting in under there and doing all this damage, and really pulling them away from the immortals, which, honestly, are a little bit high, you know, have a little bit more worth than what he has. But now we're getting, I think, into where they win this one. I did get a few Goliaths. I am doing a more mech style build because with the Zerg, I know he's going to go eventually into air, and I really want him to be punished when he does that. This build right now can kind of sate itself. It will do pretty decently. As you can see, I do the 2 medevacs, 3 into... or do I go 4? It's either 3 or 4 into Goliaths. I get some science vessels rather than just Ravens, because I want to help my Protoss that comes right after me. But not too much is going on at the moment, and you can't say this game goes on for a little while. I think I just sat in this replay, that's why it says 5 hours. I just went away from the computer, so pay no heed. It is not that long of a game. Yeah, we won't even have to show it. So now we see this Terran build, which pretty decent. Like, he's getting up differences, he's trying to counter, he's not doing that terrible. I think 402 is a pretty decent player. If I could show you the LTS, I think he's pretty good. Lemmy is doing this interesting build, but I don't think it's great. So here's Blue. He thinks he's going more into air. What I would have preferred him making is probably a few more immortal. I would have liked to see, you know, a little something else. A carrier like, he says to go ground heavy, but he doesn't like continue building up. You can see he's building up more of this. Like, so if you tell us to go, you're going air, but you're not going air. And right here, I mean, the Zerg kind of loses, but look, he hasn't upgraded. Zerg get a huge impact when they start upgrading their people. It's why generally I will say make your I'd say 6 Hydra before you start upgrading, because then afterwards, like, the 6 Hydra will be just enough. They'll do plenty of damage, and then every Hydra after that, you want to upgrade one of those 6 Hydra that you already have. So like for Teal, I would have just made 6, and then I would have started getting up my Hydralisks, or my Rageless and my Hunters. For this, I would have gotten at least 2 Hunters, 2 Rageless by the time Teal has this. Like, 2 Hunters, 2 Rageless, build up a few more, get up a 3rd Hunter. Rageless I don't think are as necessary, but they are still necessary for a Hydra versus Hydra round. Like, you can just see they do 18 to light, and they just attack faster. They do take more damage, but they have a longer reach. So like, the reason you want to upgrade your Hydra has 6, this guy 7. So you're getting this like stack of the Hydra on each other, which just means they're literally doubling their damage output just because they're at different ranges. I forget why he pinged, but just like, oh, because his thing is still doing work. And we could kind of see he is up, or am I the one pinging? No, yeah. Yeah, he didn't go air, but he did get his Guardian. No, he doesn't get a Guardian yet. So unless, as a Zerg, if you get your Broodlord, it's probably better to get your Guardian soon after. Because otherwise, it's a 1400 Broodlord. It doesn't actually contribute 1400's worth of value. Broodlords are kind of meh in that regard. So we can kind of see, alright, they're running in, they're doing the damage, we're now on top of the fortress, and this Zerg just gets more ground. If he got a Guardian out right now, he'd be doing some damage against the Zerg, and if he had a Guardian against his Protoss, really, like, what does Protoss have for air? It would target all these sentries and just wreck them. There is no anti-air, he has one fleet beacon for AA. That's it. So like you're going to be doing damage to the Zerg, and you're going to be doing damage to the Protoss. For the Terran, however, I think the way that all the Goliaths are set up, I really do just punish air that gets too close onto me. I'm not sure how I feel about the Thors for orange. Thors are decent, but he only has the one. He does have science to kind of back it up. I think he getting more bulk or getting tanks really is key for him. He's got a Zerg right behind him, which means that the Zerg himself can just wipe the floor with the help of a few tanks. Tanks, they're going to obliterate Hydra, they're going to obliterate Roach, they're going to obliterate the Zerg army altogether. For the Protoss, they're going to take out all those hallucinations because they'll just sit back and kill them. So like right now, if he had 4 tanks, he would have plenty. Like they would start stacking a lot more, but he is going to tanks. That's perfect. That's exactly what he should be doing, going up into tanks. So at this point, I actually did have a visual glitch. I don't think it was shown here, but one of these tanks looked like he was just sitting in like invisible. Or like you couldn't do anything. Anyway, they poked out our detector, so they're getting all these like free use out of their banshees. But no matter. I think most of us all have detection, so it's just a matter of time. Didn't realize, but that our detector right there almost got poked. That's kind of funny. So here we go. Guardian. Look how that Guardian did right there. 10 kills on a Protoss. He does get picked off by the Tempest. Can't do much against that. But one Queen would help. Like the Queen is there to keep your valuable units alive. And if he had gotten that 1 or 2 Queens, oh, it would have been great. Here we go. See, if he got... Now, if Orange gets more and more tanks, he'd be doing perfectly. Like, just think of all the damage he could be getting. Like, here I am. I have absolutely no tanks as Terran. I just have a whole bunch of Mech. And as you can kind of see, the Mech is rolling over. 1. Goliaths are targeting the ground because they get within 7 range and 9 range for the air. So here I am just poking out all their air. Just poke, poking out their detectors, doing damage. Their science vessels are now going to go over, they're going to start healing the detection rather than any actual units. Like, there you go. They just don't do anything. They're just not getting their value off on actual units. They're going for the detectors that are weakened. Likewise with Queens, your Goliaths are hitting the detection, and the Queens are having to spend their energy healing up a detection unit rather than anything else. So here we go. More Tempests, more air, and it really is hard for these. Like, they're playing very well, and gas is coming out. He is playing very well. What I would have suggested, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I would have gotten one more. Oh no, they do. They have the right amount of Hydra. They have perfect tech up. They have the Brutus. I wouldn't have invested into aberrations because they're just not going to do much here. The Guardian is perfect, but I think I would have gotten 2 more Guardians by now. For this guy, get rid of the Ghost, 1800, could have another tank right there. The air was probably necessary, so that's not doing too bad. But here we go, Protoss against the Zerg, 1-on-1. And you'll see, Protoss's build right here, just no adept, no, like, sustaining units. Once he gets up and starts pushing his immortals against these people, they're just not doing their damage. He does get saved out by the Zerg, but like, look, he loses his Colossus and his Tempest are the only things that really survive. I think if he had like adepts and stuff, he would have done a little bit faster. Anyway, we'll go ahead, we'll skip forward. Yeah, it's just, this guy has all hunters. So you can see, like right now, if I was a Terran, okay, he has all hunters. Banshees, Reapers. They're the ones that are going to do lots of damage to all those light units. What else does he have? It's all white, and he has a little bit of roach. So Banshees and Reapers would do great against that. They wouldn't do great against other things. So here's my wave, go ahead, poking out detection, running on up, doing their damage, poking out more, poke, poke, poke. Doing tons of damage. I think by now, if Blue didn't get up his immortals and he really did stick to air, it would give more incentive to these people. But look, he has plenty of Hydra, Brutas, and Corruptors for air. This guy, he has those, you know, he has Goliaths, he has plenty of anti-air capabilities. So I'm not even sure that, like, going full air for Blue really was a vital thing. So really doing okay. Like, they're not really winning their waves as hard because the Zerg doesn't have any Rageless to really, like, intersperse light damage once he hits the Hydra line, and you can kind of see that, like, it doesn't seem to be as effective. His Hydra seem to be killing more, his Hydra, and Brown's Hydra seems to kill more, Teal's Hydra seems to kill less. So there we go, I'm kind of getting to the tanks, but I get stopped by Zerglings. Speedlings are key to keep your allies alive. Screw your Speedlings, they're not useful units. Like, just run them ahead, let them die. Alright, so now we see some more Aberrations, which I don't know why he's building them. They're not key in this matchup. There's no, like, light units for them to take. Maybe for the Hunter Killers. Honestly, that's probably a good call. They only deal anti-armor, like you can kind of say. Like, they do 10 damage to everything else. They're not exactly the best unit to be using against Aberrations, that's true. But you have Hydra. Your Hydra, like, you only got 3 Rageless, 6 Rageless. Maybe get one more. But here we go, they clear that, and now they come into my ball. My ball of pew 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 Terran. And you can kind of see, okay, like you can hear this guy's getting lots of damage off. You know, he's up to 17. If I had just done like a 3 barracks line, I'd be dead. Because one Swarm Guardian can kill 30 to 40 Marines before he's actually taken out. It is so good. That Force Amplifier is so much. Plus, look. Now I'm stacking on. I know right now, like, literally I can make a tank line because my front line still survived until the next wave. it even survives till the next wave for the Zerg. So I'm like, yeah, tanks would be pretty good. But at this point, like, okay, so I have the science for it, I have everything. I could just forego tanks altogether and go mass BCs and probably do just as well. But I don't think I do that here. I think I get some BCs up later, but not right now. There we go, we can hear everyone's gas has just finished up. So now we're in the last sprint, the last 24 waves until sudden death. And there we go, getting plenty of damage onto the core. I think right about now, they're thinking of booming. Now, when is a good time to boom for them? Because booming is an art. Right now they're thinking, okay, maybe we can boom this wave. I would say, I think you can hold on. You have 2/3 of the hit points, and my wave isn't exactly going to do too much. It does get off a lot of damage, so. But like right here, see, I'm not exactly sitting on this, killing it off. So here we go. Now, I know exactly they're going to boom right now. Like, one, I know because I've already played this game, but two, it's the perfect time. You have your tanks, you have your Terran, and right here, Zerg is going to cross and just let it out. Boom. Just let it go. There we are. So, it might have just been lag, but there you go. Now you got something to stack on. And you're against this Protoss, or you're against me, I'm sorry. You're against the Terran. So now you got tanks on Terran. I think I can hold. I'm not certain about that. So I don't remember the outcome of this. I think I barely hold. But you see, the Goliaths are hitting the Corruptors. They're making the Queens expend their energy on Corruptors that aren't really helping too much. And I still kill them. So right now, Protoss is coming up, and look, I stacked against they stacked, and I still beat them out. I still won a Zerg stacking on tanks. Now, there's not that many tanks. I mean, he only has, what, like 3. Orange by now should have 2 more tanks out. I don't know why he has ghosts, to be honest. I don't think ghosts are vital or necessary. Maybe a few more Marines with Marauders would have been good right about here, but if you got more tanks, you'd be stacking way harder than we could. But he does get the anti-air. Yeah, he does pick off that, but right now, we have stacked tanks and Tempests. So the Zerg, I think he's just going into Brutus and Swarm Nest, and I don't think that's a good call. Because he doesn't have Guardians. I really think if he had gotten like 14 Guardians right now, he'd be set. The Guardians would have killed off a lot more. He just doesn't have anti-light, anti-Hydra stuff. And Guardians fit that role perfectly. So out I come. I have more tanks now. I am plowing through this wave. As you can see, the sheer amount of Daka Daka from Terran is hilarious. So now what? Now the Terran has to get in here. Zerg will have their... I think they stack here. Because honestly, they're going to get their Zerglings over here before my ally can kind of get onto tanks. How many does he save? He saves all but one of them. Nice. Like, that is a good save. And now look, he's got all these carriers. Which, carriers are bad. Let me just go with that. Carriers are not good. They are very bad. For the same amount, you can still get Colossus, which lasts longer and will kill more. You can get 5 more Tempests, which are even better for sudden death. You could have gotten more. Like, his build is just not all that good. And you can see, because he doesn't really do much with it. And now Reserve's coming in, he's all ground, and he's going to try to push into all these tanks that are only going to get more tanks on top of them. Terran doesn't really have, like, much a response. He's being anti-air, which I think is a bad call in this matchup. Like, he doesn't need anti-air. There's not a lot of anti-air out there. Okay, carriers. You got Widow Mines. Widow Mines will help clear out your carriers. That's pretty good. Get your Spartans, get your tanks, because you're spawning only once. If you didn't know this, like, how to know if you're spawning twice if you're just 2 people. If you're on the even wave, you will spawn twice. So right now it's the odd wave. Zerg spawn. Wait, am I messing this up? I think I messed this up. I know Zerg is spawning twice. Yes, so this is wave 65. Right here, 65 just spawned. Next wave is Zerg wave, and that's 66. So Zerg will spawn twice for sudden death. That's the easiest way. What I used to do is I used to count. Oh, this, that, this, that, this, that, this, that, and then I figured out the pattern. It's just even. Even wave will spawn twice. So here we go. He's getting more ground because he knows he needs the ground. He doesn't need all this air. But like, his build is terrible. But they might just be having a fun build because honestly, once a person leaves, it is so difficult to counter a double wave. Like, okay, they have to counter 1, 2, 3 different players in their wave. So you really have to build like a general standard. It can kind of be a little boring. So them mixing up their waves, being mostly ground, some air, gives these people a use. And here's a perfect reaction. This guy got more rage lists because he realized, hey, he doesn't have any rage lists. I can poke through all those units because he is all light units. And here we go. I have a few Swarm Guardians. Perfect. I would have loved to see... Oh, perfect. 2 Queens. This guy knows exactly. 2 Queens. They'll keep them alive as my army pushes in. But here's the issue. We got a Terran stack against a Terran stack. I don't even know where this is going. Who is the better Terran? Who's got more? Right now, I went up a few Vikings because I'm just like, I need General, AA. I just need something to shoot up, or shoot only up. And just keep, chipping. The Vikings are always going to chip at something, they're going to shoot down the air, and he tells me, oh, don't get Vikings, get BCs. BCs in this matchup alone are great. Zerg doesn't have the best thing for them. Brutalists will do just fine, but if my BCs get on top of the Brutalists, 1 Yamato shot each will kill them, and each shoots 2 Yamatos. So it's a 1700 value versus a 1500 value, and the BCs will eventually come out ahead. Brutalists do not stop all air. You really need to get up some AA, or have less Hydra. Or just kill off their ground fast enough. Brutalists are not a great source. I mean, people rely on them a little too much. They do great damage, 28 damage a second, which isn't bad, but there are better units out there that do 28 damage to air units a second. Vikings, right there, they're doing 34, yeah, they're doing half as much, but they're only a 700 value. 2 Vikings already outdo your Brutalists. Well, no, you get 2 Brutalists, so, but they're big units, and they don't have the best range. But we're pushing ahead, we're doing pretty well. Orange, by now, I really would think that he would make more, let's see, how many tanks does he make? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would have built 3 more tanks as him, because he sees that I'm almost all ground until now. Only blue is really going air. I would have built then just a Spartan line. Once I get up enough tanks, Spartans. Spartans will do fantastic. Though they're still in this, like, dealing with the Swarm Guardians, yada yada. And here, they agree, carriers are just not the best. They really aren't the best. And my BCs will come in, do a little bit of damage, and then just start poking out like big units. They'll hit cyclones. So if you really want to like soak up the damage of BC, build a few cyclones on top of everything. But he's got ghosts. Like I'm not sure why he made so many Spectre ghosts. I would have liked to see more into Spartans and a few more tanks. Here I'm just making a joke, you know. Ravens, I like them, but they're not the best use of 650 minerals. They're like... It stops some damage, but that damage can also be repaired by science vessels, or that damage can be done by the science vessels irradiating stuff. So the science vessel would have been better. If I had gotten 5 more science, you know, I could make a few more of this. Also, I could have made a few more of this. Also, I could just not spend, what is it? 650 plus 600, 1250. So, what is that, 48? I could have gotten 3 more BCs out, which probably would have done better. So here I am, I'm like, I'll get 4, because 4 is a pretty decent number, and truth be told, it makes it look pretty. This spot in here always bugs me. I feel like I got to 2 more Vikings, or maybe put 2 more Cyclone in there, just something to even it out. So pretty base always works. So here we go, just all this anti-armor Hydras are doing great. They do a specific boom right here. Perfect. And now my BC's going in there. Boom, takes out the 1, and dies to some Widows. Now this guy has a stack going on, so he's not gonna do the best. He's got to fight all those Rageless, which he built Rageless, and this guy built Archons, which Archons and Berserkers get killed by the Rageless, so this Zerg is doing really well. Look at him. If that Zerg, our Zerg doesn't come up fast enough, the Protoss loses. 1 carrier goes down, a 2nd carrier, a 3rd carrier, all of the carriers are dead. Now he's poking at, oh, there goes the Colossus, and now we can start poking at the Tempest. That's the name of that thing. So there we go, like, oh my goodness, it's doing so well. The Tempest now have to run over, and they're fighting, you know, like, it's doing pretty well. Now it's a Zerg that's all ground going against tanks. But, like, here we go again. Orange didn't get just 3 more tanks. Or just Spartans. He built up a few more Cyclone, which at this point in the game, they don't do that much better. Their power scale, like their scaling factor, they're losing out in the long run. We have 3 waves to go, and then it'll be sudden death. And here comes my wave. And you can see it's a few more BCs in there. The BCs are okay in this matchup. If he built a bunch of Cyclone, they built a bunch of Viking, BCs would do just fine in that situation because they got this Missile Swarm. Missile Swarm just cleared up all those Corruptors. And there goes my Armados. They're taking out a Thor, they're taking out a Cyclone, they're taking out a Guardian, they're taking out all these big name targets. And they're just a meat shield for all those Hydra. And I killed off their detection, which was really funny here. I actually didn't want to kill off their detection because then they don't hit the Widows. They don't stop to hit the Widow mines. They don't stop to hit that little line of defenses, which I would have used for, yeah, it just that little bit of, those little bit more units would have stopped them. And here we go. Orange, I think, yes, he's getting up Spartans, but like he could have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more Spartans, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 more Spartans right here, just all Spartans. You don't need EMPs. There's not going to be that much Protoss. And 11 more Spartans right here. There'd be no Terran Protoss AA. I'll just say every other race besides the one I wanted to say. There would be no Protoss AA at that point. But here we go. A ground Zerg pushing into a line of tanks and Guardians. Now, Brown does spawn twice. 6 Guardians is pretty good. Plus, he's specialing for wave 80. I think he specialed and we boomed or something like that. But in any regards, he gets it off, no problem. Or I think he specials, and I think then, yeah, Teal is specialing at the same time. So we end up really just evening out. Did they need to special? Maybe. Because he does get a refund off of it that we don't get. He gets 1750. I'm not sure like why he said no at that point. Like they have it covered. Like maybe they were in voice chat and he said, "Oh, I'm gonna boom." I was like, "No, I already got the special off. You shouldn't have done that." But whatever. Hey, it happens. It happens. Spartan autocannon. It does 1 damage. Oh man, there goes that. Alright, now it is the sudden death, so I will slow it down just a little bit. There was a little pause in the audio. I did have a call. Sorry about that. It's just me being a professional. I'm not. That's the whole point. So now, I think if I go to everyone, it won't reset my camera. Perfect. That's what I want to see. And you can see I just literally kept this game open. That's why there's such a long 4 hours. Now, this is the end of the game. It lasts about an hour. It's just the nature of the place. Successful. And here we go. So he has double the Guardians. What he could have done, he had a boom at the end. He could have bought Protoss like 10 waves ago and just massed up like 6, 7, 8 Tempest. That would have actually been really good. It would have pulled our Tempest and our air closer to fight them, in which case all these Spartans could have been in effect, all this other stuff. But let's take a pause and we kind of go over their build. More Spartans, that's exactly what I wanted to see. He could have gotten more in there, but he didn't. Okay, so for this guy, lots of Guardians, probably too many. I think I would have been happy with the 8, maybe just 6. And then you could have spent 1 to make a Tempest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 would have been Tempest right there. 1, 2 more Tempest, 3, 4. So you would have like what, 8, 10 Tempest. Let's go with 10. Let's go with 8, right? 8 Tempest against there, 8, and you double, so you would have gotten more Tempest than Blue had. You would have 16 Tempest. What's our AA? We have Brutalisks, which your Guardians will kill. That's no problem. And we have mine. I went factory, or fusion core. You would have won. I honestly think you could have won that if you did that. Anyway, let's get back to the fight. And so, okay, so my air's going forward. It is picking off the aberrations, anything that's high value, and it's gonna get in close. And if they don't have like a decent army in front of the air, they're gonna get themselves killed off. It's just the nature of the beast. So we'll speed up just a fraction more. This game does get to be a slideshow, as you can kind of see. It's just whenever you vote epic, you're voting for a slideshow ending. But in a slideshow, your Marines and Marauders, all those units don't matter. Hydra, they're just a meat. They're not your damage dealers anymore. You're really worrying about Tempest, Carrier, like the big ticket items in the back. Colossus even. Colossus are going to do great because all your anti-air isn't targeting them. They're targeting the air. And Guardians, tanks, Spartans, Thors. Thors are very situational. Just don't make a whole bunch of Thors. They're not as good as you imagine they would be. But here we are. Our air has just picked off the last of their air, like their anti-air, and now we're just focused on killing those Brutas. Those Brutas are going to stop the brood hordes, and that's going to stop my, tanks from just sieging in the back. And we are just going to pick off all of those Guardians. Now he has 18 Guardians. They're doing fantastically, but if he had another 16 Tempests right behind there, imagine, he'd be picking off all those BCs, he'd have picked off all of that mothership in those carriers, he'd just be picking them off, and our units would have to go forward, in which case they're underneath the Spartans and the Thors, which are dealing their damage to them. Right now you can kind of see, like, yes, we're anti-air, we're trying our best. Thors don't do that much. They're just not the best damage dealer in the end. They are tanky though. And here, Spartans are going in, they're poking, they're doing their damage. But see the Brutus? They're just sitting in the back. You had 16 Tempests right here. All of these units would be poking at our Tempest and winning. However, we do get the big win here. Not as big as I think we should have, and thank goodness that those get picked off. And now all of his Brutos and stuff like that are coming in to fight this, but the problem is they have no detection anymore, so how are they going to kill off all these swarm hosts? They're running into my tanks to attack these people, and they're just not getting the damage dealt. And just like that, it is good game. I think they take the loss, they don't just make us sit out. He says Tempest for the win, which is true, but they could have bought Protoss themselves. Brown making Protoss, like I said, it would have done fantastically, and well, it just didn't work out this time. At least, unfortunately, it just did not work out. And you can see the game paused as it crashed. So comment and subscribe. I will do more of these videos if you guys like them. And I also stream on Twitch. Check out some other videos I have and enjoy. Thank you.